Welcome to this explainer. When we talk about the absolute pinnacle of automotive luxury, a few high-end names usually pop up. But let's be real, none of them carry the sheer weight, the absolute elegance, and the unmatched prestige of Rolls-Royce. Today, we're going to completely decode the anatomy of this luxury. We're diving right into how they actually built this legendary reputation and what exactly goes into creating these literal rolling masterpieces.
Think about it. What really makes a single car cost hundreds of thousands, or in some cases, literally millions of dollars? Is it just the fancy badge on the front, or is it the raw luxury, the mind-bending craftsmanship, and just this obsessive, almost crazy attention to detail that truly justifies that massive price tag? Well, we're going to figure that out together.
To get to the bottom of this, we're structuring our explainer today around four fundamental pillars. First up, we've got a century of prestige. Then, we'll look at the art of craftsmanship, followed by unparalleled personalization, and finally, we'll wrap up with powering the electric future.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, a century of prestige, the foundation of excellence. It's time to look at the historical bedrock that actually established this legendary British brand.
This whole century-long evolution. It all started with a wonderfully simple yet wildly ambitious vision. Way back in 1904, Charles Rolls and Henry Royce teamed up with one singular goal: to build the absolute best cars in the world. Fast forward just a bit to 1911, and we get the introduction of that world-famous hood ornament. And looking at where we are in the present era, we're seeing a brand that hasn't just survived 100 years, it's thrived. And now, they're confidently leaping into the electric era with the Spectre.
You literally can't talk about Rolls-Royce without talking about the Spirit of Ecstasy. Introduced in 1911, it is hands down one of the most recognizable hood ornaments in automotive history. But here's the really brilliant part about how they handle that heritage today. On modern vehicles, the ornament actually retracts automatically right down into the grille to protect it from theft or damage. It's a fantastic little touch that perfectly merges their 1911 roots with incredibly thoughtful modern safety tech.
Moving right along to Section 2, the art of craftsmanship, building a masterpiece. This is where we see how all that historical prestige translates into the physical, tactile experience of actually sitting inside one of these cabins. One of the wildest things about a Rolls-Royce is that they aren't just snapping parts together on some giant automated assembly line. Every single vehicle is the result of meticulous assembly by highly skilled craftspeople. We are talking about painstakingly hand-polished wood veneers and leather interiors carefully stitched together by absolute experts. Add in all the advanced sound insulation materials, and you're looking at countless dedicated hours poured into just one vehicle. That obsessive human touch is exactly why it remains the ultimate symbol of luxury. And that brings us to one of my absolute favorite design quirks, the coach doors. Now, you've probably heard people call these rear hinge doors suicide doors, but Rolls-Royce prefers the much more elegant coach doors, and they aren't just for show. They're specifically designed to make entering and exiting the car incredibly convenient and visually distinctive. So instead of awkwardly contorting yourself to slide into a back seat, you just step gracefully right into the cabin. It completely elevates the vibe of just getting into a car. And once those heavy doors close behind you, wow, it's like stepping into a totally different world. The engineers go to extreme lengths, using advanced sound insulation and precision engineering to create an exceptionally quiet cabin. The entire goal here is maximum comfort. They want to provide this effortlessly silent environment where all the noise, the vibration, and the chaos of the outside world, it all just completely melts away.
But honestly, that quiet comfort, that's really just a blank canvas. Let's head into Section 3, unparalleled personalization, the bespoke experience, and look at how owners turn these cars into literal commissioned art.
Through their exclusive Bespoke program, buying a Rolls-Royce becomes this incredible, in-depth customization journey. First off, clients get to select unique paint colors and custom materials. Actually, scratch that. They don't just select them, they often invent them. Next, they choose the specific wood veneers and leather that match their exact taste. Step 3, they can literally design their own interior artwork and get their initials custom embroidered into the seats. And finally, because of all this insane attention to detail, they wait months for the Bespoke project's meticulous completion. But the payoff? No two cars ever have to be exactly alike.
I think the absolute coolest example of this personalization is the famous Starlight Headliner. Imagine this. Thousands of tiny fiber optic lights are individually installed by hand into the roof lining to create the appearance of a beautiful night sky. It's absolutely breathtaking. But here's the real kicker that shows their dedication to bespoke luxury. Owners can actually request custom constellations to be mapped out in those lights.
You could literally have the exact night sky from your wedding day or your child's birth shining above you while you drive. How amazing is that?
All right, let's bring it all home with our final section, Section 4, Powering the Electric Future, Luxury Meets Innovation. We're going to see how a brand so deeply rooted in tradition is tackling the future of automotive power.
This is where we see an evolution with absolutely zero compromises. On the traditional power side, you got legendary models like the Ghost, the Phantom, and the Cullinan. These are famous for their effortless acceleration and exceptionally smooth driving characteristics. But then we flip to the electric era with the Spectre. This is their very first fully electric production car, combining totally silent electric performance with that signature handcrafted luxury we've been talking about. The major takeaway here? Whether there's a traditional V12 under the hood or a massive battery pack, the performance never, ever compromises the core luxury experience.
So, what does this all mean for us? Ultimately, what you should take away from this explainer is that when someone buys a Rolls-Royce, they aren't just paying for a vehicle to get from point A to point B. They are paying for over a century of uncompromising attention to detail. It is a true masterpiece of engineering, craftsmanship, and personalization. It represents a level of elegance and prestige that is honestly unlike any other automotive brand out there today.
Having unpacked all this incredible engineering, the bespoke art, and a literal century of history, I've got to ask you a question. Which Rolls-Royce model actually captures your imagination the most? Are you drawn to the stately, old-school tradition of the Phantom? Maybe the adventurous spirit of the Cullinan SUV? Or are you all in on the silent, electric future of the Spectre? As they redefine luxury for a whole new century, which legacy would you choose? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep exploring the amazing details that make the world around us so endlessly fascinating.